It reminded me a lot of Liam Payne. He went to see a concert of another One Direction member, Niall, and was pretty much exposed. And then there was lots of stuff happening off the back of that online, of people talking about it and taking the mic and and all those sorts of things. And then it seems to me that he was left in a hotel on his own and then shut in a room on his own. And then what happens after that is a bit of a mystery, really. But there was a certain degree of erraticacy, if that's a word. And so it's just, I thought, well, maybe it feels like there was a lack of protection there.
It could have been, but the problem with it is under that circumstance, you would have been knocked off by then anyway. Yeah. If he had a bodyguard with him the whole time, when he got back to his hotel, he would have turned around and said, I'm in with my mates, we're having a few drinks and doing whatever. Thanks very much, good night. Yeah. You know, you normally wouldn't sit in a personal space like that with people staying in for the rest of the evening and doing whatever they're doing. Yeah. And even if you was, let's face it, if you're sat in the thing out of the way, which you would be somewhere, could you still stop that? So the other thing is, it's probably been about another 60 young people that jumped off balconies this year. Yeah. Doing the same thing, you know, which especially, you know, through the summertime and the holidays, people generally falling off as well because they've been silly and sitting on the side of it and all this stuff. So this is the thing with celebrities, because of who they are and everybody knows them, everything gets so looked into so much, where if you don't know someone and they fall off under the same circumstances, it's almost like it doesn't matter. Yeah, you forget. Exactly, of course, it's still the same thing, yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, it's probably something we'll never know about that. Yeah. But in terms of if he had more people around him, could he have stopped it? Probably not. Yeah. Probably not. And it's difficult to say because we don't know how or why that happened. Yeah.
It seemed to me there was a couple of, I mean, I'm not qualified to even talk about it, but it's just, you know, from what you've seen is there was a lot of, like, he was quite exposed, shall we say, when he was he went to, like, effectively an arena to see a concert and lots of people videoing, which kind of opened him up to a lot of effectively just online abuse. And then a couple of days later, that you kind of just, the reports are that he was behaving erratically. And so you go, if there was someone around him that's there for his best interest, then would they or would they not have been able to sort of raise a red flag of, you know, something needs a bit of TLC, should we say?
Yeah, I'd say certainly his long-term mental health is in question. Yeah, I would think. Yeah, but once again, it's all circumstantial. With, you know, he wasn't a kid; he's an adult. Yeah. And I've had it before where I've suggested someone's had security with them. I won't say who it was, but they categorically didn't want it. And you can only say a few times, and you have to go, you know, I hope I don't have to say I told you so, kind of thing. Yeah. And it could have even been that with him. There could have been plenty of people around him that knew that things weren't quite right. Yeah. And you can only do a certain amount with that.
I suppose he was very well known, almost sort of not quite Michael Jackson level of fame, maybe, but maybe, you know, to certain people, absolutely. And was effectively spent his life on stage or locked in hotel rooms from when he was 16 or whatever it was. Yeah. What's your sort of your experience of how that sort of manifests in people? Like, how does that affect people?
Well, first of all, it doesn't need to be like that. Yeah, that would have been a little bit of. I mean, obviously you're restricted to be able to run around and do what you want to a certain extent, but that could have been the first sign that there was a problem. To be honest, yeah. If you're always just on stage and in your hotel room and not a lot else, yeah. Certainly all the sort of singers I've looked after, musical artists, although they do stay in their hotel, it's normally for rest because they generally want to be there. And if they want to go out, we'll go out and still do normal things as much as we can. So if you're spending that whole time and never going out, it's a little bit of an indicator.
Do you think some of that is sometimes, I'm not specifically talking about Liam, just in general, sometimes those things, particularly if you come off a big talent show or something, that a bit of the security and the locking people away is a bit it's a bit of a play to create the hype around the person.
Probably not, because it doesn't really do that. It doesn't really make a difference most of the time. They go to things where you see them the most. It's all organised events, press releases, events that have been so where people, you know, they do get, obviously if they just walk out the hotel, they do get they will get fans and people on the street stopping them and everything else. But in terms of sort of people covering them on a global scale, it won't happen then. So probably not. I just think that it's literally down to the individual, and to go out anytime, you've got to feel like going out. It's very easy to stay in when you're a celebrity. I mean, we find it easy to stay in now. Yeah. So if you're an A-list celebrity, it's even easier to stay in. And I think some are more conscious than that than others. Some possibly, there's nothing wrong with them, but don't realise how much they stay in because of that. Yeah. And obviously the mental health side of it, staying in is not great for your mental health anyway.
No.